Koach Rabbi.
Yeah.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. It's so good to be together on Shabbat, whether it's in the sanctuary, on Zoom, or anywhere, really, you can celebrate Shabbat. Shabbat is a time, it is not a place. I want to take a moment to talk about Thanksgiving. We're not going to be here next Shabbat, the week of Thanksgiving, and that seems to be by design. We have Shabbat here at CAH on the first and third weekends of the month. Thanksgiving will never come on the first or third weekends of the month, so we will never have services here for Thanksgiving so long as the current model persists. And indeed, during the week of Thanksgiving, I hope we can all enjoy a vacation of some sort. Even though I love being here at CAH, even rabbis and student rabbis enjoy vacation. So, now that I am looking forward to this time off, whom should I thank? Should I thank God, who gave us this time? Surely it's always a good idea to thank God. Should I thank President George Washington, who first floated the idea of Thanksgiving? Should I thank Abraham Lincoln, who instituted the holiday? Perhaps I should thank Rabbi Sachs and Brenda, who chose to have services here on the first and third week of November. I'm going to go with all of the above. Kal v'chomer. We should always be grateful. And having a longer list of people to thank is not a burden. Rather, it increases our gratitude. Thanksgiving is a holiday for all Americans, including Jews. If you want proof that Jews were meant to celebrate Thanksgiving, look at the menu. Thanksgiving turkey, not Christmas ham. Vegetarians, I hear you. Your time is coming. I think it has already started, actually. If President Lincoln was aware of the lobbyists today, today, you know what I'm saying. Back then, there would have been something different, perhaps. But turkey is what we have. Tofurkey. We have some options. So, nevertheless, the idea of Thanksgiving is very, very Jewish, even though we all celebrate it, Jew and non-Jew alike. Slowing down to rest and reflect sounds like Shabbat. A nationwide day of Thanksgiving sounds like Sukkot. The pilgrims knew these things. They had a great respect for Jewish traditions, and they came to America in pursuit of religious tolerance. And that has been a tolerance that we Jews have enjoyed in America as well. To be clear, no country is perfect, and there are anti-Semites all over the world. America is no exception. Even Israel, the official Jewish homeland, has its share of anti-Semites. But when we sit down next week for Thanksgiving dinner and we list the things that we are thankful for, let's remember to give thanks for the freedom to practice Judaism openly in a foreign land, while we are thousands of miles away from Israel. When the Jews were exiled from Israel, they weren't sure this would even be possible, but now we know that it is. There was a horrific anti-Semitic book burning recently in Poland. Perhaps you've seen the video or the article. But things in America are much different than they are in Poland. They're not perfect here either. There's still a big difference. In recent years, we have had shootings at the Chabad in Poway, the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh, and others. There seems to be significant anti-Semitic activity this year going on in Texas, particularly. But these actors are private citizens. Almost never do these citizens reach the upper levels of our government. American Jewish history classes often include lessons on Peter Stuyvesant, the disgusting anti-Semitic governor of the colony of New Netherland, which later became New York. But that wasn't really America. That was pre-1976. And the truth is, America's senior leaders have almost always had the Jewish people's back. For all the gridlock in Congress these days, the freedom to practice Judaism has never been seriously questioned in Washington in the modern era. In fact, it started with Washington himself. In a 1790 letter to the Torah synagogue in Rhode Island, President Washington wrote, "May the children of the stock of Abraham who dwell in this land continue to merit and enjoy the goodwill of the other inhabitants, while everyone shall sit in safety under his own vine and fig tree, and there shall be none to make him afraid. These are words of Torah, book of Micah, chapter 4. And Washington wasn't the only president to be kind to the Jews. Almost all of them were. Here are some more presidential quotes about Jews. President John Adams, our second president, wrote in a letter, "I will insist that the Hebrews have done more to civilize men than any other nation." President Lincoln supported the idea of a Jewish homeland in Israel, saying, "I myself have a regard for the Jews. My chiropodist is a Jew, and he has so many times put me on my feet that I would have no objection to giving his countrymen a leg up." President Harding, one of the most hated presidents in American history, said, "One of the marvels of humanity's story has been the strength and persistence of the Jewish faith and its continuing influence and the power of the Jewish people. I cannot help but feel that these things are in large measure owing to the Hebrew conception of a personal God and of the individual accountability of men and women." President Wilson said in support of the Balfour Declaration, "How proud I am that because of the teachings instilled in me by my father, that it has been my privilege to restore the Holy Land to its rightful owners." Perhaps a bit premature. In regard to the anti-Semitism in Europe during the Holocaust, President Truman said, just 2 days after his inauguration, "This is the time for action. No longer can anyone doubt the horrible intention of the Nazi beasts. We know they plan the systematic slaughter throughout all of Europe, not only of the Jews, but of vast numbers of other innocent peoples. This is not a Jewish problem. This is an American problem." And President George W. Bush said of the Jews, "Theirs is a story of defiance and oppression and patience in tribulation." Reaching back to the Exodus and their exile into the diaspora, that story continued in the founding of the State of Israel. That story continues in their defense of the State of Israel. President Obama even went so far as to use Hebrew when addressing American Jews directly. Some of us may remember this. He said to the Jews, "Today, I want to tell you, so long as there is a United States of America, atem lo levad, you are not alone." American presidents have consistently been allies to the Jews. They have never seriously questioned the freedom of religion. It's in the Constitution. And while we haven't ever had a Jewish president, American pride has recently been reinvigorated by the musical Hamilton. And recent studies have come out, they're very fascinating, indicating that before he immigrated to America, Hamilton was likely raised Jewish. Jews and America go hand in hand. We should celebrate the American holiday of Thanksgiving with pride. We have so much to be grateful for. I thought about reciting a list here, but I realized that what I am most grateful for might not be what you are most grateful for, and vice versa. But we all enjoy and should be thankful for freedom of religion here in America. America isn't Israel. It's something different. And different is okay. We should embrace what is different, the way America has largely embraced us. No, America isn't perfect. Even the story of Thanksgiving itself isn't perfect. In the traditional story of Thanksgiving, it said the Pilgrims and the Native Americans ate a meal of Thanksgiving together as friends. In reality, the treatment of the Native Americans was, and still is, much, much messier. And accordingly, some schools have stopped teaching that story since it isn't 100% accurate. Nevertheless, there is a beautiful value behind the story. They said that the Native Americans made a place at their table for their white neighbors. We made a place at our table for the other as well. They made a place at the table for the other, and so should we. We Jews have often been called the other, and we have benefited from others making a place at their table for us. We need to do this too. Many of us already do. It's a very Jewish idea. Exodus 23:9 says, "You shall not oppress a stranger, for you know the feelings of the stranger, for you yourselves have been strangers in the land of Egypt." But it's not enough to simply not oppress. We have to go farther. We don't just stand idly by. We have to be welcoming. There's a lot of communities where it's a tradition to invite an outsider to Thanksgiving dinner, someone who has nowhere else to go. This still takes place at shelters, but in people's households, this isn't always done anymore in 2021 because it's a COVID hazard to many people. Hopefully, those days will soon be behind us and the tradition will endure. Yeah, it's very important to have hope, to hope that things will get better. But it's also important to be thankful for what we do have. And it may not always seem like it, but we have a lot. So let's enjoy our Thanksgiving holiday next week, actually. And if we can, let's remember to be thankful for what we do have, Jewishly and as Americans. I'm thankful for CAH and for all of you. Shabbat Shalom.